Good evening, Monadnock region, and welcome back to the Space Lounge. This is Go-Mo Tonight, the Monadnock region's only locally focused comedy podcast. We are delighted to be here in the throes of the dog days of summer. I am your host, Christy Loretto, joined by my fabulous co-hosts,
Zoe Roten-Heinsman
and Sam Abbott.
Welcome, guys. Welcome everybody to the program. It's a great time of year. We are recording this on the 14th of July at 8:22 p.m. And we are Zoe and I are fresh off of this month's Writers' Night Out, our monthly Monadnock Underground Peterborough Town Library open mic for writers in the fabulous 1812 room, which is wonderfully lit from the front with full-length windows. 1833 room?
1833.
Sorry. I was wondering why you were looking at me like that. Sorry. No, right? 1812 was like a war and an overture and everything, but it's not it's not the room. It's 1833. Sorry. My apologies to the library and to the original ancestors, to the OG. 1833. But no, it's fabulously lit by the setting sun, with the full length windows overlooking the river. Great time. We had some really great readers this month. Always fun.
Super fun one too, because some of our regular poets read prose tonight.
Yep.
And some people that we know as prose writers tried some poetry out. So it was extra fun for that reason.
Yeah, it was cool. And I like it that, we've got one guy who's kind of been coming every month and he's reading passages from a very definite work in progress, so I really like it that he's kind of working through it regularly with us, not even as a one-off. Really cool. Underscores the fact that I haven't personally written very much of anything in quite some time. And really need to get on that. But these things, as most people will tell you, ebb and flow. Some people will say you can just grind it out, but I can't really just grind it out.
I don't really get good results from that personally.
No, me either.
I can grind out some words, but they're not good.
Right. Exactly. If I don't want to write it, like if I'm not in it, people can tell. You can tell, So yeah, so cool. So good stuff. But in terms of the not so good stuff, what the fuck is going on? I keep saying that people are tense, but it keeps becoming more true even than I think it is, because people just keep shooting each other. And I'm not talking about the mass killings thing. That's a separate issue that we're not going to get into here. But I mean your standard normal murder where you kill somebody that there was a murder suicide, I think, in Antrim a week ago. Just yesterday or the day before, a little bit outside of Monadnock, but not really. In Winchester, some dude shot his step grandpa. You shouldn't shoot your step grandfather. Sam, you were talking about somebody in Nashua having a standoff?
Yeah, he was in a standoff with the police and he shot himself. Pretty heavy. I think it's Nashua. Heavy. I mean, it popped up on my stuff. I'm quite sure it was Nashua.
Yeah, what the hell is going on? Actually, I say that, but at the same time, I really just think people are. I mean, that's the dark humor at the core of the people are tense joke, is that everybody is at their breaking point, in a lot of ways. After the last 2 years, there's just so many things that are just continuing and compounding, and it keeps going. I don't personally quite feel that way, fortunately, but even in my someone called me Zen earlier, which is false, but kind but false. But I am still, I do feel like I'm a little bit more, I've always been a really excitable, agitated kind of guy. Somehow I'm calmer than the median now, I think, which is weird to be able to say. But even I acknowledge that, Jesus Christ, can there be one day without some kind of major world news or something local or just there's always something, there's always something. And I do think that's wearing on people. I think I've alluded to this a couple times on this program before, but like, if anybody has ever seen the first season of the HBO program, The Leftovers, the conceit of the show is fantastical because a bunch of people have disappeared and from the whole world. And the story of the show is just that people have to like move on and deal with that, But that whole first season takes place in a town, probably a little bit bigger than Peterborough, but not that far off in character. And it's in some ways it can be a difficult watch because everyone in the show is so tense all the time and like just so at their breaking point all the time. And when I watched the show a year ago for the first time, I was like, this is fucking Peterborough in like a few years. Like we're like just a couple years away from this. Like this is, and I think that's a pretty good prediction. It might be happening slightly faster than I thought, to be honest, but I don't think like that's what it's like out here.
When you said that a year ago, I didn't really want to believe it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I see what you're talking about, but I don't know. But now I think about it all the time.
I never wanted it to be true, but it's like how it is, and I really think we are seeing it manifesting in acts of violence, like eruptions that people have when they snap, and it's a terrible thing, but like will it increase? I don't see why it would go down.
You said it in your email, your Friday email, like last week, a couple weeks ago. You said like things are going to get worse before they get better.
Did I really say that?
Yeah, you put that as like your email headline.
It seems awfully heavy.
You're like, things are going to get worse, so enjoy the weekend, everybody.
That's so funny. I don't remember doing that. But I'm glad that's a little bit more honest than I usually aim to be in those emails, Like I try, not that I'm lying to anybody, but I do, it is supposed to be a little bit rosier, I think, a little bit happier than that. We didn't get any more than usual like unsubscribes after that one though, so it couldn't have.
No, I'm not sure we.
I don't think I could trust anybody. So I hope. Yeah. So I don't know that there's much more to say about that other than like, look, as a comedy program, it may seem a little bit unusual that we cover the murders. We kind of set a precedent on covering murders early on in this program. And I just think there's probably at least a couple people out there that rely on us to hear about these things. So we don't aim to overly joke about them. And I don't know how much else there is to say about these murders other than like, hopefully they don't continue. But we are here to tell you about the killings.
And the deaths from other causes too, right? Like, there's my segue for you, Sam.
I'm not that slick at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I am alluding to I don't know, is this a high profile local death? The prison death of David Boutwell.
Oh, yeah.
Call this high profile?
I would. I didn't know his name, but I know his story. And we don't need to get into that story today. But let's just say that if it were up to the now deceased R.I.P. David Boutwell, our good friend Bill Taylor would not walk among us to this day because this man died in prison, and he was in prison as a result of trying to shoot Bill Taylor. He did shoot him, actually. He succeeded in shooting him, tried to kill him. Didn't succeed at killing him, fortunately, but did shoot him. And
you've seen the evidence.
Justice prevailed, and he went to jail. He had a big sentence, right? He had 2 consecutive 22 to life sentences or something like that.
Wow, good memory. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus a few other smaller sentences for other little things.
So he wasn't getting out anyways, but he wasn't that old, right?
He was 60.
Oh, okay.
He died of a heart attack.
A little young to die of a heart attack, but if you're, I don't know, prison is stressful, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, don't want to, not trying to pee on the grave of the dead necessarily, but we should all know that justice prevailed. And if you shoot Bill Taylor, the curse of Peterborough will catch up with you. Don't do it. Bill has already had his time. So if you are one of the people that's going to snap, direct it at somebody else, because Bill has done. No one should have to be shot twice in one lifetime. I firmly believe that.
Especially in Peterborough.
Yeah, no shit.
Right. Of all places.
Then we would have to wonder about the curse of Peterborough and with whom it truly lies.
Right.
You're getting shot multiple times in Peterborough.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah. Yes, that's true.
So hopefully none of that will ever come to pass. But that may be all the deaths we have to cover.
Yeah.
This week.
I hope so. Couple of things going on in the Peterborough Facebook group. Those of you who live in town and around here, if you don't know about this already, and of course this episode is going to come out in a few days, and hopefully the issue is completely resolved happily by then. But if chances are you've heard of Banks, the missing dog. What kind of dog is Banks? Do we know?
Border Collie.
Border Collie. I'm not very good with dog breeds. Banks, there's pictures everywhere on Facebook. Banks has been missing for a while. And confession, I have to say, I've been seeing a lot of these posts, and I truly, my heart goes out to these folks. Their beloved dog is gone, and they very obviously care very deeply. But I've sort of been like, man, privately, just like I don't know how hot. I don't see a positive. I mean, as the days tick by, I feel like when I was a kid and like friends' dogs ran away, like the dog, like they might put signs up, but if the dog was gone for a couple of days, like I don't remember the dog ever coming back. But that was me apparently being erroneously negative, because I have been informed today that apparently many lost dogs come back after the 14-day mark, because they're kind of able to like hide out and scrounge around for that amount of time, and then eventually
found.
They get found.
Maybe not come back, but yeah.
Okay, they get found. Yeah,
but yeah, turn up these days.
Let's keep an eye out for Banks. The prospect of a happy ending reminded me of I didn't like this movie, but it was beloved by many. 1993 film Homeward Bound, Disney movie. It's like a smart dog and a dumb dog and a cat, and their family like leaves them behind, or something, and they move, and the animals cross the country to find them through the wilderness.
I don't know if it's the country. The whole country. It might even be that they went on vacation or something and left the animals there. I mean, the kid's waving at the dog. They didn't just say, "Hey, sorry guys, we're going to just leave them. We're moving." But I don't remember what the plot was. But that they did go on an incredible journey, but I don't think it was across.
Okay, so no, it might not be the whole country, but this says that the family has to temporarily move to San Francisco.
Oh,
and they didn't abandon the pets, but they leave the pets with like a friend, and the animals don't understand this, and they think they've been abandoned, so they haven't really been abandoned. But this says that they have to cross the Sierra Nevada. So okay, it's not the whole country.
Might as well be though.
But yeah, like a significant chunk of it.
Probably much further than Banks has to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably. Yeah.
So I'm conflating this movie in my mind, which I think I must have seen because there's things about this that are ringing a bell. But the movie that I first thought of about animals traveling is The Adventures of Milo and Otis,
which I haven't seen.
I guess you guys have not seen this one.
Never heard
but
of
this
it.
is like an orange cat and a pug, and there's like no people in this one. They're just traveling, and they get separated from each other and then find each other.
Okay.
And there's just like a really memorable scene where there's a bear, and maybe you don't know because you haven't seen it.
No.
But those are like really mixed in my mind. And the animal traveling subgenre of children's film.
Yeah.
But that's the one I liked.
The
cover kind of looks familiar, but nothing else about it really.
The title sounds familiar to me. Like I recognize the name, but I don't think I've seen this movie. But
apparently it's Japanese, and the original English title is The Adventures of Chatron.
just Chatron.
Chatron.
And that didn't take off, right? So
I don't recall that title.
They rebranded.
Yeah.
The cover of this movie does look familiar to me too. So I mean, like, I don't know. Both of my younger siblings like loved these effing animal movies, and my parents, who didn't want us to watch anything that wasn't wholesome, also liked them for that reason, because like, of course, these animal movies, it'd be kind of funny if they made like a foul version of like an animal adventure movie. Like the animals swear and visit like forest brothels and stuff.
Maybe we need to write that.
Write it. Oh, it's funny.
Yeah. So it's entirely possible that they actually did watch Milo and Otis, and I was probably forced to be in the room and I tuned it out in my memory, because some of these things I forget by choice, I think. Yeah, so all best wishes to Banks. Keep your eye out. Go look on the Peterborough Facebook group. You will see a million updates and posts with the dog's picture, and we hope and pray that Banks returns to their owners found before this episode comes out, frankly. But if not, keep your eyes out. Let's find Banks. The other thing...
I'll say quickly, too.
Yeah.
Last I heard, he was seen, or a dog that they're quite sure was him. The lady was convinced, based on the description, that it was the same dog. In the area of Cavender Road on the Greenfield side. So if anybody that's listening lives in that kind of area, I called my friend a few days ago, and the owner, and he was out currently in the moment looking for the dog in that area. But anybody who lives over there, or even in Hancock, the house where the dog was living is on Middle Hancock Road in Peterborough. But anybody in that kind of greater area, actually keep an eye out, because two different people have reported seeing him now, and have called them and kind of assisted them in hopefully finding him. But
yeah. Wow. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed here. Let's also keep our fingers crossed again that none of us falls victim to any scam. Last week we covered the many ways that someone can fall victim to a phishing scam and how that might turn out to be the case. But this week we're seeing an uptick of activity in the Peterborough Facebook group of a very different kind of scam, and that is the Asphalt pavers scam. Now, I don't know if you guys know more about this than I do. I'm a little shaky on it, but I believe, as I understand it, I think that it goes like this. Typically, they target old people. I'll get into why I think that is in a minute. And it's not just because old people are easily confused. No offense. Most of Peterborough, no offense. But it's not just about, it really is not just about confusion and that sort of ageism. But I'll get into that in a minute. But if they seem to target older people, they show up with a truck and they come up to the door and they're like, hey, we just finished doing a driveway around the corner from you, and we've got all this extra asphalt. we've got enough to do your driveway on the cheap. And they'll quote them some cheap figure, and then they'll say, give us half the money up front and we will do the driveway and then pay us the rest at the end. And then they take the half the money up front and bail. So one, I think, just overarching thing that we can say to our listeners right off the bat is, young and old, if someone comes to your legitimate people are not going to come to your door with an offer for your driveway.
Right.
They're not. They won't. If they're there doing that, they're probably trying to scam you. Maybe the man seems nice. Then people who seem nice run the best scams. That's how it works. That's how they get you. So, it's okay to be polite, but just say, no, I don't want a fucking driveway. You know what I mean? Like, don't just, I don't know who. To me, it's like who would ever? I don't know. I have a hard time imagining like making a decision about redoing my driveway on the fly. Right. If I on an afternoon when I wasn't planning to have someone do my driveway, they're just going to do my drive. Like, I have a hard time with change. You know what I mean? Like, even if my driveway was in crappy shape, I'd be like, I don't know, man. I need to ease into this. Like, I need a few days to process what you're about to do. I just can never see myself making a change like that, just like on the fly. But this is why I think they also target the old folks, because only the oldest people were alive at a time when it was really normal to go to anybody's door like unexpected, especially as a stranger and especially offering some kind of business. Like, we don't have door-to-door salesmen anymore. That used to be a thing.
Right.
Like, we don't have, sometimes we have door-to-door religion people, but like, they don't offer to plow your driveway. It's different, you know what I mean, though? Like, you in order to remember a time when there was any commerce whatsoever done directly by doing a cold knock on the door, you have to come from that age of generation. And I think that
vacuum salesman.
Yeah. And so because like anybody younger than that, like, can you imagine, like, I can't speak for Gen X, thank God, but I think it's the same pretty much for them as it is for us older millennials, which, like, can you imagine any of us millennials buying something from somebody who just like showed up on the doorstep? You know what I mean?
Like a Girl Scout cookie from like a neighborhood child.
If it's an actual child with like a Girl Scout uniform on, I'm not going to assume it's a scam. Anybody else, I'm just going to assume that they're like casing my house for a robbery, like some kind of enemy of mine, like spying on me, process server, like coming to shoot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. We don't even have that here, but like, just a joke. But like I just assume that they're up to no good. Like, if automatically. And I think that that's the norm.
Which is really funny because I sort of assumed that it was, sorry, no offense, I assumed it was older people calling the police on the cable installers that we read in the police logs a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's a funny one because like you had to call for that person to be there. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that thought, but it's just like, who are these people?
That to me sounded like a case of forgetfulness, potentially. Like, I don't remember ordering this man to fuck with my wires, therefore it didn't happen. So I should call the cops,
He should have been offering to pave their driveway. Just like, no, I'm here for the driveway, sir.
So don't accept any offers for your driveway. Anybody out there? I hope most of this, our listenership, hopefully doesn't need to be told that. But if you do, you heard it here on Gomo Tonight.
Good advice.
Driveways aren't even close to cheap. Like, to pave your driveway, it's a shitload of money. It's like, you're like, oh yeah, it'd be nice, seal the driveway up. It's like, I mean, it's like you got to really fucking want to pave your driveway in order to be able to actually afford to do it. And so to have somebody, some fucking jamoke come by and say, hey, by the way, I can do it for, what? I mean, what are they saying? It's going to be like $1,000. Give me $500. And then they leave. I mean, anything less than that, I just don't see it, because
Yeah, no, I know.
who's going to give you more than $500 just on the fly? Like,
On
oh,
the
sure.
fly.
Nobody,
Yeah.
right? And so they're saying something
nobody.
like, it's like it should be $10,000 or $8,000. It's like,
Wow.
why would they do that?
Yeah.
They could actually just go sell the shit and do somebody else's driveway. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and as one of the frequent comments from people who have like done that for a living is like, they're like, we don't have extra. Like we measure and we know how much it takes because this is our profession. Like,
Right.
like,
you imagine just like driving around the neighborhood to try to like find a driveway that's the perfect length for the extra that you have,
in the back of your like pickup. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't, like that's how you think that they do this. No, they're like, yeah, no, like we actually are like serious professionals and we like know how much it takes to do a certain size driveway and like we don't have extra and someone else was like, yeah, and like if it was ever off and there was something more, like we keep it, like we take it back to the place it's like mixed back in because it's valuable, like we can use it still. We don't need to give it to you like it's not going to expire. It's not fucking milk. You know what I mean? Like,
see, I was imagining like, I don't know, like steaming hot asphalt.
Yeah, right. If we don't lay this down right now,
it's just going to harden in the truck.
And then we're out of truck too. We can't even use the truck anymore, right? No, it doesn't. I don't know. Every week I talk about taking good advice, and one piece of good advice that I tell people that is surprisingly not that popular today, because some people see it as victim blaming, but I say this every day, every single day. I get up in the morning and I think to myself, I am not going to be a sucker today. Don't be a sucker. Don't let anybody, if you don't think that people out there are trying to sucker you, you're a mark. They're coming for you. If it hasn't happened yet, it's dumb luck because it's coming. They're going to get you one day. Always be suspicious. You can do this and still be friendly and light and filled with love, but always assume bad intentions, and no one will get the better of you. If you really purposefully watch out for people trying to trick you, like the number of red flags that should come up on this, all of this can be avoided simply by asking yourself, would a sucker do this? Does this seem like I'm being a sucker right now? Like, could I be being a sucker right now? And even if there is a 1/3 chance, right? Even if you're probably not being a sucker, but there's like a 1 in 3 chance in your mind that you are, don't pull that trigger. Don't do it. It's, am I wrong here? Is this good? I think this is good advice.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good.
1 in 4, hey, it's your funeral. You take your chances, right? 1 in 3, don't do it. 1 in 3, don't do it. But less than that, it's your call.
I don't know. I think maybe you're being optimistic about people's ability to make that assessment in the first place.
I don't know if I should get into this, but but I think that if you were correct about that, then the idea of gaslighting wouldn't be such a thing, and it wouldn't be such a common thing to be a victim of and to accuse people of doing. Because to me, like, gaslighting is the easiest thing to not be a sucker about, because like in theory, like what it's supposed to be is someone getting you to doubt your own sanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just make sure that you're sure about your own perception, which is like just like another piece of good advice that everyone should take at all times. And if you are, no one can gaslight you. Like it's not like being clubbed in the back of a head, right? If somebody comes up behind you and hits you with a bat, right? You're a victim. And telling yourself that I'm not going to be a sucker couldn't save you from that, right? There's nothing you could have done. Somebody came up and physically assaulted you. But like someone like assailing you with doubt, right? Like you can avoid it You can avoid it by just making sure that you're not going to be a sucker. But so many people report this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And talk about it all. It's like, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people who get, and I don't know, we see on a regular basis, I definitely don't want to get into this because this is way too third raily for this program, but like, I don't know. We've seen in the last couple of years a whole lot of people be suckers about a whole lot of things.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is I think you're being too optimistic that most people can sit there and be like, there's a 1/3 chance that I'm...
Oh. I thought you were saying that people know this already and then I'm telling them things that they already know.
I think that like, no. That like asking people to like evaluate, is there a 1/3 chance that I might be a sucker in this moment? Like, I think that bar is way too high.
You can practice it though. You can get better.
Sure.
If you make an effort, it's a muscle. You know, it is a muscle. And if you've never worked it out, then yes, you can't jump right into being sucker proof. That is accurate. You're right. You have to work it out, but you can over time. This is hot dad summer after all. You can work out any muscle, and including your own I can't be duped muscle, and you should work that out. Especially in times when people are tense, right? And a lot of institutions are falling apart, and like you should have a healthy distrust of like almost anything right now, no matter where you read it or hear it. Like, this isn't a statement about the media or like being political on one side or the other. I think it's really clear right now that like a lot of assumptions that we made about like just basic society functioning and working are not true. They're not. We can't assume them anymore because they've fallen by the wayside or they're crumbling before our eyes, etc. And that means you have to be more skeptical of everything. You know, you have to make your own assessments. And I don't know. This is a little bit too much good advice for the middle of the episode, but
it's a lot of good advice here.
I do think you guys ought to hear this. But anyways, that's all that's really going on. It is quiet. This happens every year. Like it's quiet I shouldn't say it's quiet. There's a lot of activity, but there's nothing interesting really happening or being talked about other than those two things in the Peterborough group right now. This happens in the summer. Everybody goes like as soon as we get past, into the dog days, right? Which I learned today is it's July 3rd through August 11th or something like that. I always thought it was a little later than that. I always thought it was more like July 15th through August 30th kind of thing, or like August 20th something. In my mind, I'm still going to keep thinking that.
Yeah. Why is it called that?
It's called that because there's a dog star, and I don't know which star it is.
I knew it's Sirius.
Is it? Oh yeah, Sirius, the dog star. So anyway, Sirius is up there, and
got it.
But what it means is that it's the part of the summer where it just gets like extra hot, and the air is stiller, and yeah. Oh no, I'm just explaining to our audience, not to you. I wasn't mansplaining. I'm just telling everyone what the name comes from the star, but that isn't necessarily connected to what it means. It just happens that when the weather's like that, that star is in the sky. But again, in my mind, I feel Dog Daisy a little bit later than that. Correct or not? But we're there.
The Dog Day cicadas are out and have been out.
Oh, no shit.
You heard them?
No.
Yeah. It's like, so there's like the 17-year cicadas, that everybody knows about, where they, they come up from the earth. None of the broods are this far north, sadly, but we do have cicadas that you can hear, and they're just like annual cicadas. They come out every year,
plain low grade,
but they're called Dog Day cicadas because this is the time that they come out, and they've been out for about a week, so pretty aptly named according to the star, I guess.
Yeah,
if not like
true.
My
conception. We're talking about the timing. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people have taken vacations though, doing their, just getting slower and lazier and everything else. But that doesn't actually mean that the police log activity has been dead.
No,
because it really hasn't.
Not dead. Okay. No camping trips this week, but
we still don't have answers on that, though, do we?
What's that?
There's no answers on that, though, right? We don't know.
I have not received any.
Yeah. Well, I threw it out there in the episode that I released today. We'll see if anybody. So far, no bites.
All right. Well, we'll find out. But there was an incident of what's being reported as harassment. 3 Peterborough residents reported being harassed by an unknown person on Facebook for the past few days. They provided screenshots of the messages and were advised to block the sender. So,
I just want to applaud. I have said it before. I think that we in Peterborough really do have a pretty decent police force on balance that does a good job, and I think it's really good to know that they can also give basic social media lessons. I don't know how many cops in other towns, I don't know, can the cops in Dublin tell you how to use your Facebook? I don't know. I doubt it.
I don't know.
We need to appreciate these things.
Yeah. I'm surprised that he didn't add that, it's not a crime since there was no property damage. As with the rooster.
Me too.
And did we want to talk about the what was the other one we wanted to talk about?
Oh, the weed in the duffel bag. Let's skip that one.
No, we're not going to talk about that. Do you want to talk about the skateboarders? I didn't know if we wanted to go there.
Yes. No, we can cover the skateboarders because we've talked about. Just so you guys know, there were some skateboarders discussed on our censored XXX episode 30 that none of you have heard. So we've covered.
We'll keep this discussion clean.
Yeah, exactly. We've discussed skateboarding and skateboarders twice, but you have only heard one of those times. Anyways, we'll keep it clean.
There were some juveniles skateboarding
whom we do not hate, for the record.
Whom we definitely love.
We love the young.
We love juveniles. They were skateboarding. They were skateboarding in the Roy's parking lot, and the employee of Roy's was not pleased with this and asked them to leave. And they came back, and he asked them to leave again, and they were politely explained that they were not allowed to enter the properties of Roy's, and they were cooperative. And the employees, I don't know if I read this to you guys earlier. The employee said that if the kids came and apologized for skateboarding in the parking lot, then he would let them back in the store again.
That's nice. So it's not an unconditional lifetime ban. That's reasonable. Yeah. That's very fair.
So the parent of 2 of the boys was notified and said that she would bring them in to apologize. So hopefully since June 27th, that whole situation has resolved.
Yeah, that does, and I'm sure that it has. And there's no need to cast lasting aspersions. And again, because I don't hate the youth, I don't want anything bad to befall these skateboarders or them to be fired or anything. You know what I mean? Nothing. They're fine. This is a very minor infraction, obviously. And I know that some people really don't like my stance on skateboarding because they think it's an appropriate adult activity, and that's fine. I really am very libertine in terms of people being able to live absolutely how they choose. I really believe that. Whether or not I call you names for it is a separate issue, right? But it's a right, and that's fine. But and some people may not have liked it that I may have drawn a line and said, "Oh, actually, no, I did this." I drew the line on the episode we didn't release. So never mind. But whether or not there is a line that can be drawn between skateboarding and petty crime, like vandalism and loitering, whatever the fuck else, right? Whether or not there is, and I'm not saying there is, but there might be, but I'm not saying there is. Either way, though, people get up in arms that we have a rule, a law in town that says that you can't skateboard downtown. And people are like, low-income people use this as environmentally friendly transportation, which no, they don't, but okay, we can pretend, right? I'll humor you on this one, and that's fine. Maybe there are law-abiding, low-income people who skateboard to save money and the earth, Mother Earth, okay? That is so ridiculous, but fine. That's not real, but fine. Let's say that it is, okay? There may be law-abiding people who are in that category, right? But the reason that people hate skateboarding is because they associate it with people who go on, and again, I'm not trying to be all like, private property is the be-all, end-all, because that's also obnoxious, right? But businesses with private property and like liability insurance do have a right to tell you not to fucking skateboard in their parking lot. And that's not burdensome. And that's not totalitarian or mean, or that's reasonable. It's a reasonable thing to do. And like it or not, law-abiding, low-income environment savers, people think about those things when they think about skateboarding. They think about kids going into places where they shouldn't be, where they're not wanted, and doing their tricks and things like that, whether it's fair or otherwise. And that's why this happens. That's why we have these rules. Is that people are like, I can't believe there's an ordinance against skateboarders. Well, it should be believable because things like this happen, and a lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people associate that with skateboarding. And those people, it's not that big of a leap to say, you know what? Not having it on our roads downtown is the simplest way to solve this problem. There's a skate park. You can go to the skate park. There may be some private property where skateboarders are welcome. That is kind of the New Hampshire way, is that if there's private property where they'll let you do a thing, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. That includes skateboarding. These are the rules of engagement. This is why it is the way that it is. And I'm sorry. And I know that these are just kids being kids, and that's true. And again, I don't want to pick on them. I did lots of bullshit like that when I was a teenager, right? But like the flip side of that is that like other people really don't want to deal with it, and they don't have to just because you're a kid, right? Like you can't just use that as an excuse for all kinds of bad behavior. Well, they're kids. Who cares if they, break their face and sue you and your insurance company pays it out and then cancels your policy? Like that's the world. This is the world, I don't know. So,
and to fulfill my charge as the vice chair of the recreation committee, like we do have a lovely skate park equipped and designed for all those sorts of tricks.
And there are, and I don't know if there's anything that's able to be talked about at this time, but there are members of that rec committee who are committed to enhancing the skateability of things. So there's like people working on the problem. Like it's and that's fine. I do support that. That's constructive. But it also, like, people should grasp the idea and the reason why it can't be a free-for-all and why people get upset. It's not entirely unfair.
Yeah, that's all I had in the police log, I think.
That's what we got in the log. Yeah. I don't think we really had much else. Did we want to jump over to?
We have a quick update. We can keep this quick.
Oh, yeah.
Headline of the week.
Right. Yeah.
Headline of the week out of Temple. The wait goes on. And this is, of course, referencing the poles that are currently still not licensed so that Fidium can finish installing their fiber network in town.
Yeah.
And there's an update in this article about exactly why.
And who are the, I forget, who's the company who wouldn't turn over the poles?
It's TDS.
Oh yeah, TDS. Yes, another DSL fire.
TDS Telecom.
Yeah, they're a telecom. They do what Consolidated does, basically.
The Belt Hip stated, "I was hoping TDS would make good on their word to sign by July 4th, but they didn't." So, some of the reasons why they did not fulfill their promise
this
here.
Is what I'm interested in.
What's that?
This is what I'm interested in. Is what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, they said there are several factors, including preparing the poles for installation, which I don't know exactly what that means. I thought they were already installed.
It sounds like bullshit, but okay. We can keep going.
They must provide quotes and receive payments to kickstart the construction project before signing and authorizing the pole licenses. To be clear, says Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs for TDS, Joel Domeyer, TDS cannot authorize pole license approvals until all requirements are met by multiple other entities involved in this process. We continue to actively work with Eversource Energy, with whom we jointly own the poles, and Consolidated Communications to resolve issues with the party requesting attachment as soon as possible in order to authorize pole license approvals. So they're kind of saying, like, some other people have to finish doing some stuff. We gotta get all the everything ready.
So a couple of things that I would read between the lines here. So, I mean, they're essentially pleading corporate bureaucracy, right? They're pleading, they're falling back on policy and saying that that's why. And it's entirely possible to that is in fact their corporate policy, and that all of this is factual in some way, right? But I mean, there's a few interesting pieces here, right? Because these are only some of the poles in town, right? So there's other poles in town that are owned by other entities that the town has not had this difficulty with. So even if these are TDS corporate policies, these are corporate policies that must be unique to TDS, because the other poles were released without issue, right? And look, I'm just saying, like, I can't defame TDS here, but I feel like I can. I mean, we don't really have a legal fund, but we should. I do think that I can legally say that sometimes companies will fall back on bureaucracy and procedure in order to stonewall or drag their feet on something. And if other pole owners, pole rights holders, did not have these reservations with the town, right? And what the town is trying to do, and what FIDIM is trying to do, is obviously fairly cut and dried. It happened in Peterborough with no pole rights issues, you know? And it's uniquely TDS that has this problem, right? I hear their stated reasons, and I still ask why. You know what I mean? Is this really a screw up on the part of Temple? Did you fail to tell them of the requirements? You know what I mean? Like, what? I still, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Reading it out loud instead of just skimming it, it sounds like a non-answer to me. When I was skimming it, I was like, oh, there are some answers in here, but then I read them and it's like, those aren't actual answers.
There's something, I just can't buy it. I'm sorry, but I can't buy it altogether. Release the polls, TDS. We at GOMO tonight call on you to release the polls and give Wi-Fi to the deprived rural residents of Temple. You're standing in the way, you know? The other thing that I know about corporate bureaucracy is that when the right person says the right thing, it gets bypassed all the time. All the time. If the right client is asking for a thing and they talk to the right person, policies and procedures are almost never a reason outside of law why something cannot be done. And so it's like, seriously, someone at this company can make this happen, I feel like. And I am not willing to jump immediately to this was town incompetence or something, because they got the rest of the polls no problem. I don't know. I think this is fishy. And whether or not this is legitimate with what TDS is saying, I think TDS needs to make this right. Needs to make this good. Make it happen, TDS. You know what this is for.
Yeah. Release the polls.
Release the polls. Yep. That might be the title of this episode. Yes. So I think that's all the news we have to cover, but we haven't talked about misconnections in quite some time. Right? And I don't want the loves, right?
That's right. It's been like
a month and a half.
Weeks.
A month and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As I'm like opening my misconnections now, there's a lot of scrolling until I get to one that's been purpled out here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So a lot of it's summertime too. You know, it's the time and the season for loving, right? And so people are having these encounters more often. People are looking good, you know, wearing a little bit perhaps less clothing in the heat. You know, these things are much more prone to happen. So yeah. I don't know. I'm going to let you guys look at it real quick. I'll be right back. I got to step away from the thing.
All right. Should we go ahead and, do you have a good one? Should we go ahead and read?
First one I opened, Shaw's Friday night. This is Milford, New Hampshire. I mean, it's not a bad one to start with, I guess. Shaw's Friday night, Milford. To the woman whose son was yelling "Dad" at me, thank you for making my day.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a little strange.
Yeah, some kid starts shouting "Dad" at you as you're walking through the grocery store. I mean, I thought it painted a funny picture, but
no,
I'm not your father.
But he liked it. Maybe he
did. He enjoyed it. Yeah, he laughed out loud because.
I've got a Costco.
Okay.
Costco in Nashua. Our paths crossed near the wine section. You were in a lovely long dress. We are both Indians. You looked at me a couple of times. Would love to connect.
That's really sweet.
Did you hear that? Love in the wine section of Costco.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you have another? Are you ready with one, Chris, or shall we?
Yes. This is from Whitefield, New Hampshire. Where the hell is that?
Probably north somewhere.
Yeah. So maybe not around here. Whitefield. Yeah, Whitefield is in Coos County.
Nice.
It's actually, I don't know. I think it should be Coos County, but nobody listens to me on that. Just like that bridge going into Maine, it should be called Piscataqua. Hate the way that it's really pronounced. Anyways, up in Whitefield in Coos County, this is titled "Sexy Guy Shirtless. Noticed you at the dairy bar and thought you were my lost buddy who moved away a year ago. Wanted to say hi, but was running late. Hit me up." Wow. Okay.
All right.
I think that the phrase dairy bar it's kind of gross to me.
Yeah.
I just don't like those words together.
No, that's gross.
Dairy bar.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
I got.
Yeah, go ahead.
You got one?
No, I do, but yes.
Candia, BMW X6, Candia Irving, years ago. That's the title. Thought I passed your car the other day. Only respond if you can tell me what I was driving when I first saw you. Apparently years ago.
Wow.
Seems like a long shot. Seems like a real long shot. I mean, if they weren't already long shots, which they are, you know, that's an even longer shot right there.
Yeah, I mean, if I was honestly, and I mean, I hate to say this about Chinese Vine, but like, if I was really looking for somebody like from like years ago or something, I might think about like making a zany TikTok video and like hoping it goes viral, like more than a Craigslist misconnection, honestly. For somebody
your odds would be higher.
Yeah, and it's like a regular misconnection, like who's going to care about that necessarily? But like if you're like, I'm looking for this person from years ago, that might be an interesting story on TikTok. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the kids want. I don't even know if they believe in love. Here's a movie here's an entry that I don't know. I feel like it could be a movie plot, maybe Hallmark. We do plan a lot of Hallmark movies on this show. It's very simple. The title is We Met at Nashua Behavioral Unit. Your name is JR. Mine is Kian. I'd like to see you again. Hope that
it's like Benny and June part.
Yeah, at least there's names that they have. There's more of a chance, I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. This one, I can't explain to you why this one is like extra touching to me, but I like this one. It's called Raymond Market Basket Mac and Cheese Lady. Hi, mac and cheese for dinner, lady. I was a Saturday night, and I was sunburnt and just in front of you in line. I can't stop thinking about you. Do you remember me?
Nice.
I like that one. I hope they find each other. That's like
me too.
That's like the number one that we've ever read that I'm rooting for. Mac and cheese for dinner, lady, and sunburned man. I'm assuming
you guys didn't read Shaw's Friday Night from Milford, did you?
Well, yeah, Sam, that's the
did.
one you missed.
That was really sweet. That's a nice one. I'm sorry I missed it. That's a good one. Maybe he is the kid's dad.
That's a weird twist that I hadn't considered.
And only the kid understands that. All
right, we got to round out the grocery stores. We've got Bedford Hannaford here.
I was just looking at this. Yeah, read this one. I used to, there's two Hannafords in Bedford. So actually this could be, I used to work across the street from one of them though. And it's a really nice store.
That's the one I'm imagining as the setting for this.
Yes.
Hello, beautiful. Please tell me what the note was written on. And if you want, include a pic of the subject of our affinity.
Wow. I like this one because there clearly was a connection.
Right. They were like writing notes to each other in the Hannaford.
Yeah, something happened here. And so this isn't just a shot in the dark. This is two people who passed a note back and forth, apparently, with an affinity.
Yeah, they shared something.
Yeah.
Beyond just a glance. It seems.
Yes.
All right. I got Ashley. Ashley from Dunks.
Okay.
Bedford. Ashley, if you see this, I see you almost every morning when I stop in with my plumbing company. My coffee is a large hot milk only. Large hot milk only. I would love to get to know you better. You were at a register today instead of the breakfast and bagel area, and I got you to smile. Would love to chat. Jeff.
All right. See, this is one where this is an unpopular thing among some crowds to say these days, but I'm going to say it anyway because I believe that it's true, and it's always been true. But this is one where, guy, you don't take the Craigslist for this one. This isn't a missed connection. You see her every morning. If you like her smile and all this stuff, I know there's going to be people that are like, people didn't sign up to be hit on at work. But you know fucking what? When I worked behind a retail counter at a register, if a nice, attractive girl had said, or guy, honestly, right? Either gender, I accept compliments and things from anyone, right? I'm an equal opportunity flatterer or recipient of flattery. Recipient of flattery, you know. I liked that. That made my day. Those jobs suck, you know? Like having someone say something nice to you, even if you don't reciprocate, even if you're attached, whatever, I think it's nice. Some people think that's bad. I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons that people are so tense and society's backwards right now because it is actually nice, I think, to make a pass at somebody, within certain bounds. But don't make a lewd remark, guy, in the morning to the person serving you your coffee. But you could
a happy medium.
You could, right, exactly, right.
Between
exactly.
Craigslist and a lewd remark, there's a lot
I'm not
there.
saying you jump to a proposition. You know what I mean? Don't make this dirty. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't turn this into something negative. But passing her your number, or just I see you every day, and it's one of the nicest parts of my day, and I would love to see you again another time sometime. That's not, people need to know this. That's an okay thing to say to somebody. And that doesn't make you a creep. Even if people call you a creep for that, you're not a fucking creep if you do something like that. That's a nice thing to say to somebody. And if somebody says that to you, and you don't want to go to bed with that person, you can still take it as a nice compliment, and be polite in return, and not be offended and feel like you've been assaulted in some way. That's not true. That's a nice thing that somebody did. Even if you don't like them, it's not creepy, so putting it on Craigslist might be a little creepy. That's part of what makes me think the guy might, but maybe he's a victim of this culture right now, where people are afraid to do things like that because somebody could get angry and start making a problem for you. And that is morally wrong, I think, to do. Yeah. I really do. That's a truly wrong thing to do to somebody, just because you didn't find them attractive, which is really what it comes down to. It's not that your rights were violated because you didn't want to be hit on. It's because you were hit on by someone that you weren't attracted to, which again, it happens from time to time, and gracefully accepting but declining is an option. It's a very common thing that human beings can deploy. You don't have to be a victim to just politely rebuff somebody, and also feel good though that you received that attention. That's normal. That's normal human behavior. It's not patriarchy or something. That's just humans. So Guy, if you're listening, I don't want to help you make your missed connection by saying this on the air. And chances are Dunkin' Donuts person in Bedford doesn't listen to this anyway. I want you to go and talk to Alice, or whatever her name is. Go give her your number. Give her your number. And may you find love, on that note.
That might be the good advice we should end on.
I think it's
an episode jam-packed with it.
A lot of good advice in this episode. I'm sorry if anyone found it overbearing. I hope you know that it's very well-meaning and that I am filled with love. All right. Thank you for joining us for our program this week. We will be back again next week. Many, many thanks, as always, to our benevolent producer and sound lord, Chad Patterson, who is available for so many services. And let me tell you, this is a guy that you want to do business with, because, I feel like talking in that manner, I should say, because he's honest and hardworking, but also he's just a really fun and pleasant person is really what I mean. And any of your audio needs, whether that's recording, production, mixing, setup advice, or actual setup itself, etc. Studio117.net, not .com. That is his operation. You can reach him there. And then there's also Down by 10, which can be found on the Facebook link that'll be in the show notes, as well as bookable at downby10band@gmail.com. They are, and I love it. I just couldn't be prouder that Chad has really taken the ball of Hot Dad Summer and ran with it, because he has begun just simply marketing the band as the cover band of Hot Dad Rock Summer. Again, I could not possibly support this more, and it seems to be working out for them because they keep booking more gigs. I really do think that if you want to get these guys to your thing, you're probably looking at the fall at this point. So please, if you need an awesome dad rock cover band, and come on, guys, anybody who is in our peer group here of the hosts of this program, you know that you're the market for this music. This is if you have the discretionary income for your party or event to hire a band, this is what the people at your party probably want to hear. So give them a call, okay? Thank you, Chad, for making this sound as good as it always does every week. We couldn't do it without you. And anyways, again, we'll see you next week. We will probably have some more information and announcements, a lot of funny stories, hopefully no more murder. Try to at least fake the Zen, right? Try not to be one of the people who snaps, okay? We all have that potential, right? We also all have the potential to be a sucker. Definitely try not to be one of the people who ends up being a sucker on any given day. That's the most that I can give to you on this Dog Day Thursday in the year of our Lord 2022. So until we meet again in this Space Lounge, I urge you, I implore you, it's probably more important than ever before to take good advice. We'll see you next time. Thank you.